Hello, people! I've missed you so much. It's been so long. I'm so sorry. But life's been crazy over these past few months. It's just been mind-boggling, and I'm so grateful for this chance to finally come here, sit down, film another podcast with some new tech that I've got, hoping to improve the quality of the videos somewhat in the future. I want to start off by talking about what has happened in these couple of months that I've been off, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot. I feel like I have changed quite a bit and I've learned a lot, definitely. But I just feel so different from what I've been in the last video, in the first episode. I'm talking confidence, I'm talking mood, I'm talking future, I'm talking hopes and expectations. I just feel very, very different and I really want to talk about it, so let's dive right into it. So the first thing that had happened, I graduated university. Hey, congratulations to me! Yay! I'm very happy because it's been an accomplishment for me. I'm pretty young to graduate university, so I'm very much happy to be that person. It's also an achievement for my family, as I'm the first woman of the family to be a bachelor. The couple months that I've been off have been something like this. I've been studying, I've been working, I've been writing my thesis countless times, resubmitting it various times, hoping that one would be the last one, but then losing my hope and then submitting it like a week or two after. Then there were state exams, which is a whole different story because I didn't even really prepare for them, to be honest. Like, the thing is that I was so immersed in my studying and in my thesis and in my work that I could not just find any time to prepare for my state exams. And I started preparing for them like maybe 3 weeks before the actual exam took place. And so it's been very stressful for me because I had to study for 22 questions, and all of these questions were kind of like open answer. Of course, you had to talk for like 10 to 15 minutes on each question, which was difficult and challenging for me. And I did not prepare as good for all of the questions, which turned out to be a negative thing for me when I actually took my state exams. Because I got a question that I didn't really prepare for. Like, I knew it surface level, but I didn't investigate the question. I didn't explore it deeper because it was a historical question and I had to study the history, but I didn't. So that's what I got caught at. It was a very awkward moment. It was honestly very rage baiting for me. I got really angry because of this, but kind of figured it out. And moreover, the state exams didn't really matter because they were just pass or fail. I passed. Congrats to me. Great. Let's talk about my thesis a little bit. So my thesis was a very big struggle for me because, hey, first of all, I'm not a native speaker. Second of all, the class that should have taught me how to write my thesis, as I found out, actually didn't teach me how to write my thesis. It was a horrible class that I regretted taking with that specific professor that I had it with, but I didn't know. I took the class, I passed it somehow with a whatever grade, and then it turned out to be bad for my thesis later on. But I'm very grateful for my thesis professor, for my thesis advisor, who took all of his strength and power to help me as much as he could, which thanks a lot to him. But I really tried to write my thesis as professionally, as academically as I could. So it turned out to be not bad, but I hoped for better. That's the thing. I am quite an optimistic person when it comes to my grades, because take this, I passed my last semester with straight A's. I aced my last semester that I had to work and write my thesis in, which was a big accomplishment for me, and I was very proud of myself. I'm still proud of me. But I was hoping that my thesis skills kind of improved throughout the semester, and they did. By the end of the semester, I was kind of writing my chapters really fast because I figured out the pattern, I figured out the wording, I figured out the grammatical structure, I figured out everything. So I had a chance to write my thesis very fast, and I submitted it almost one of the first, which was great for me. But I hoped to get like an A minus, but at the end of the day I got a B, which is still great, honestly. It did affect my GPA a little bit, not too much, because my grades were still like covering most of my GPA. So I ended up with a pretty good GPA that I'm proud of, and I feel like it's been great. So after everything was done, I was relieved, but my schedule got very crazy. I spent June relaxing, to be quite honest. I still had work, but I traveled to see my friend in Spain. I had my friends coming over to Prague, specifically for the reason of my graduation, but we also had some fun along the way. And June has been just very, very good for me, and it's been an amazing month that was just what I needed after all of the load of information, all of the load of struggle and burden that I had to carry on my small little tiny shoulders. And yeah, and it was truly an amazing month that I got to spend with people I love and got to spend with people that I really enjoy spending time with. And then the graduation came. It was an amazing day. It was like the true American dream that everybody could see in the movies. And I'm forever grateful to have a chance to live through this experience of throwing your cap at your graduation, wearing a gown and your hood that represents your school, getting to walk the stage and get my diploma. It was just all very atmospheric, and it made me feel truly special. It made me feel truly inspired, and it was a great ending to this big journey of 3 years. And I'm just very much grateful for everything that had happened throughout this time. So after the graduation came the sense of, what the hell am I supposed to do right now? Because it's officially adulthood. I am still in the process of deciding if I want to do my master's or not, because I am planning to do it at my own cost or for free on a scholarship, which is quite challenging. And it requires a lot of preparation, and I understand that I will be going through the same process with writing my thesis, but it's going to be even more difficult, and it's going to be even more challenging, and it's going to take less time than it took for my bachelor's degree, because I had the time to study for 3 years, and it was very slow and steady, and with each semester I got to know something more and more, and it was kind of very calm, and I didn't have the feeling of rushing. But I feel like with your master's degree, it's a little bit more speedy, it's a little bit more swift, and it's a little bit more dynamic, which I don't know if I am prepared for, considering that I am also thinking of changing my financial situation to be completely independent from my parents. I am planning to change this situation and be completely independent and on my own by the time of next year. But here raises the question of, how am I supposed to combine the two? that's a whole different story, to be honest. But with the adulthood comes plans, comes hopes and expectations and strategies for what to do next. And a very, very big part of it would be being in a relationship, building a family, and going into this big wide world of love. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. And there is a lot that I want to talk about because honestly, the topic of relationship is gigantic. There is very much to talk about. So today I'm going to try to specifically focus on dating apps and dating life and expectations on dating life. So we're going to try to keep it within these lines, but it's going to be a little blurry. So I'm going to be touching on this and that once at a time. And it's just going to be a little bit more subtle. We'll see how it goes. So my main idea, kind of my main thing, is that the relationship value has shifted into a kind of like a different dimension, and it is seen with people either abusing it or rejecting it. We could kind of see the shift to traditional values for both women and men in the younger generation because they got tired from this chaotic perception of relationships and the chaotic perception of love in general. And it honestly lays a little bit deeper because we can also talk about the political situation in the world in general, because many countries reject the liberal way of things and are going back to conservative order, which does affect the social life, which does affect the citizens of a specific country. And because we have globalization and because we are all connected throughout the internet, it is very evident in many, many countries, in many cultures, and it's all a global issue rather than an issue of a certain country. But politics is definitely a root of it, or it's better to say it plays a very big role in the shift from very liberal mindset to traditional values and conservatism. But I don't really want to talk about the political background of this because it's a very hard topic that I need a lot of research on. Let's try to keep it a little bit surface level, and I'm gonna try to express my thoughts in a way that regards dating apps, dating life, relationships, situationships, whatever the hell it is, and just talk about how it's affecting people and what I generally think about it. So let's try to kind of date this back to the COVID-19 era, because I think it was not the start of the shift in the relationship, but it was definitely kind of like a shifting point that changed the whole scene and the perception of a lot of people on relationships and on love. So first I want to say that a lot of news articles are written about dating life and about dating apps and how they are getting worse and worse with every year. And the core of dating apps is just very wrong in my opinion, because of the selection of people that are out there and the variety of choices that you have and the freedom that you get. Now, hear me out on this. I don't mean freedom as in I want limitations, but I mean freedom as in talking to multiple people at the same time, going on dates with multiple people at the same time, which kind of gives some people a sense of power and a sense of choice, that they can abandon a certain communication or abandon a certain relationship for something that benefits them more in current time. And it's just a very small part of it, I would say. But what's important to note that I'm talking specifically about Gen Z here, because at the time of COVID-19, the people who were, I think, 13 to 24 are now 18 to 29, which is the age group that uses dating apps the most. So this is kind of the idea that the people who stayed at the time of their, I would say, best years, yeah, as your teenage years, as your early 20s, this is kind of the best time of your life, as everyone talks about it. These people spend this time alone, no one around them. It was no possibility to have any dating life, to have any love life, and these people had to accommodate to the environment that was around them, which was purely internet based. My claim, that might be controversial, but take it as you want, is that people forgot how to meet naturally, and there are less and less opportunities to meet someone naturally just in the field, because everybody is so consumed into the internet and into the dating life, dating app, and social media that they don't really open themselves to the opportunities of meeting someone in real life, which only worsens the situation for those who wish to meet someone on the street or in a bar or in a restaurant, in a cafe or a club or whatever. People got used to talking online and not used to being outside and spending time off their phone. And I think that it also could be tied to the overuse of social media. As we all know, the very big part of social media are the models on Instagram, for example. We could take the porn industry that is blooming and flourishing right now. We could take the OF and all of those different platforms that allow people to stay locked within their phones and allow them to stay in the internet, kind of like fulfilling their needs, if you know what I mean, through the very easy way of abusing some type of content that is being spread in the internet. And with the rise of dating apps, the dating life in the internet became kind of like a trend that I think a lot of people started to follow, because it's just a flow that everybody catches up on, and it only gets more and more engagement from people, and it pushes them away from other methods of meeting new people and going on dates and spending time with someone who is your love interest. You know, it's all just different, and the dating apps have kind of immersed people into this big world. Let me also add this. I use dating apps myself. This is a normal practice for everybody who is in their late teens, early 20s. I think everybody has gone through that, and my experience had been very unsuccessful and very unenjoyable, so I stopped doing that. And going back to the idea of various options that you have within those dating apps, I believe that when you're scattered around 5 or 10 or even 15 or 20 chats, you don't feel a sense of commitment, and you don't feel a sense of choice that you have made. Now, let me make this clear. When you are talking to various people at the same time, you have different expectations for each of them. And the thing is that you don't focus your attention on one person, which doesn't allow you to get to know them better, or think of any possibility to build a future relationship with them or a life with them. And it creates a sense of non-commitment, a situation that you could easily escape from by just simply deleting the app. You know, it doesn't take that much to end some kind of relationship in these types of situations when we are talking about dating apps specifically. And speaking of experience, most of the chats that I had with guys that I wanted to talk to and who I liked, I didn't go on a date with. And the time that we talked was very little because eventually each person is just scattered around various messages and various chats that they just cannot keep their attention. I believe dating in dating apps works by the law of first come, first serve. Whoever took your heart first, or whoever asked for your Instagram or your socials first, the guy gets the cake. I don't know. It's just to me that's how it works, and that's to me a big problem, I believe. And the problem is not about having the choice and having the opportunity to pick from people to see who you like best. But the problem is that some people get too much attention, which leaves them with the feeling of not wanting to commit to one person because why should I when I have 5 guys following me or whatever it is? And other people leaving just alone and ghosted, for example. The dynamic does lean more into men being ghosted and abandoned and rejected than women, but it's a whole different topic that I don't really want to touch up on because it's very deep social and it is just going to cause a lot of issues, I think. And I believe that the kind of choice that the people get to talk and flirt with various people at the same time decreases the value of the relationships. And it makes the relationships feel like come and go. There is not much effort that you put in firsthand to get the relationship, to claim the relationship. And therefore, the relationships turn into the slow effort situation that you could easily escape, put no effort in, and build no future with. This is what the situationship thing kind of describes. It is this floating state of not understanding what is happening with your love life and with one specific person because people have stopped understanding the sense of putting the label on, or they don't want to take the responsibility anymore. And that's why the situationship word has been created. And I think you could already understand that I don't like situationships and I don't believe in situationships because it also pulls you away from taking the responsibility with putting the label on, because people do understand that building a future with a person means putting some effort in and getting the responsibility and gaining the responsibility. So that's why people have started kind of manipulating each other into this situationship thing. And I think that naming it became kind of like a staple so that it is definite. Because people don't like to be indefinite. They don't like situations that are indefinite. They don't like people that are indefinite. It's just not what we enjoy as humans in our nature. And having a specific name for this situation kind of frames it and makes it feel more definite, but it actually is not. And with that, let me slowly and carefully touch up on the coming out of this dynamic and coming out of this trend. Many people on social media, in real life, I would suggest saying mostly women, come back to the conservative and traditional values in the relationship. So stepping back from the modernity and coming back to the old, seemingly stable order of things.
The problem is not that getting married at 18 is too young. The problem is that adults are getting dumber and dumber and dumber. I mean, what if I don't want to live the way you live?
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this.
We're trad wives. We believe in gender roles in our marriage.
We're trad wives. We believe a clean home is a happy home.
We're trad wives. Always obey our husbands.
We're trad wives. We choose to stay home and support our husbands.
Hookup culture is not empowering for women. I know some of you are gonna hate hearing that, but you need to hear it. Casually hooking up with these men is destroying women's self-esteem.
And you could see this on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, with various creators talking about wanting to be in a conservative relationship, wanting to be in the relationship of man being the breadwinner and woman being the caretaker of the house, the kids, the everything that they've got together. And this dynamic is seen also, as I said previously, in the politics, with various countries coming back to the conservative values and stepping back from the modern, inclusive, and all different and all freedom-wise values. And this is definitely a very political conversation when we are talking about the deep roots of it. But on the surface, we could definitely say that this shift has happened because we could see that the dating life in dating apps simply doesn't work. As I've mentioned before, the internet consumerism, the porn industry, the very easy access to the things like pleasure and intimacy and all of that stuff, combined with this giant diversity and this big amount of choice that you get when you go to dating apps. And this dynamic seems to make the relationship feel valueless. Because of the perception of the relationship, people often catch their partners cheating on them and then, for example, excusing themselves by saying, oh, this is not that serious, I didn't think we were that serious, blah, 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 and all of that. Because this is kind of like a cheat code to getting all of the pleasure that you want without taking any responsibility for it. And I mean, it doesn't work like that anywhere else. If you want to take a loan in the bank, you have to pay it off. If you want to study, you have to pay for it. Everything in our world works with, if you want to get a benefit, you have to pay for that. And we have turned something so abstract like love and relationship into this dynamic of, I want the pleasure, but I don't want to pay for it. But at the end of the day, people are paying for it just in a different way. People are being manipulated by each other, people are being gaslit by each other, people are being ghosted, people are being broken up with, and it's just a little piece of what is happening in the situationship world. Because of that, we could see women coming back to the old way of things by wanting to date to marry, as simple as that, or choosing to wait until marriage to have any sexual intercourse, or other things that would ensure that their partner is willing to take responsibility for them. And of course, we could say that it lays much deeper than just in rejection of dating apps, but it is definitely a part of it, suggesting that people are getting tired from this unstable environment that doesn't promise anything, doesn't ensure that something is going to happen, doesn't promise for future, or doesn't promise for any type of expectations or any type of hopes. And honestly, my opinions are just very much scattered around because I feel like your youth is the time to have fun, try different people. But I definitely feel the sense of tiredness and exhaustion from people who are just done with dating apps because of the nature of dating apps. And moreover, the research suggests that dating apps are getting worse and worse with each year. The algorithms are getting worse. The selection of people is getting worse. because some people are starting to understand how valueless dating apps are, but some other people are still giving it a chance and not finding anything that they would wish to find. And to me, it turns out into a lot of issues moving on, considering that I am the person that wants to date to build some kind of future together. I'm not saying that I want to date to marry, because I feel like I'm too young for that, but just date to build the future and date to try to get to the point where you want to spend the life together. But I believe that a lot of people don't really want to be in that dynamic, but we see some counter group standing up and trying to express a wish to date, to marry, and to build a life with one partner and spend a life with one partner. There are a lot of other things that I could have talked about in this video, but I really want to make it short this time so that I could get some feedback from you, so I can improve the quality of the video, the topics that I talk about. So maybe you could see a shortening in the length of my videos and maybe a more swift dynamic, but I really want to keep it simple, I really want to keep it smooth, and I really want to keep it in the form of podcast and not just some type of social video. So let's end it here. There is still a lot to cover, and I really want to hear your thoughts on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have some insights that you can share down below in the comment section. Let me know what you would like me to talk about later, and if you want me to talk about the relationships a little bit deeper and talk about the political background of it, just let me know. I'll try my best to do it. But thank you for staying with me. It was an amazing time. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.